Title: The Escalator That Never Ends, and the Things Crawling Up Behind You. It started as a TikTok dare. The video claimed that if you stayed on the broken escalator at Claremont Central Mall exactly 1 minute after closing, 10:31 p.m., it would start moving again. Downward. The comments were full of half-joking "don't try this," scared face emoji, and "my cousin did this and never came back." But I was bored. And honestly, I didn't believe in urban legends. I should have. The mall was dead quiet when I snuck in through the service entrance. The food court's neon signs were half-lit, humming like dying insects. I made my way to the escalator by the abandoned cinema wing, the one with the under-renovation sign that's been there for years. I stood there, phone in hand, ready to record for clout. At 10:31 p.m., the escalator jolted to life with a metallic screech. But instead of going up or down a floor, it just kept going. The space below stretched far beyond the structure of the building. Walls peeled back into concrete nothingness. And there was no bottom in sight. I don't remember deciding to step on. But I did. It was cold. The lights above dimmed the deeper I went, until only the faint orange glow from overhead bulbs remained. I pulled out my phone, no service, of course. Then I noticed something. They were handprints on the side panels. Some smudged in red. Others clawed. And then I heard the scrape. It wasn't the escalator. It was behind me. Something was climbing after me, not on the steps, but along the metal edge. It was fast. I caught a glimpse when I turned. A gaunt figure, skin too pale, stretched like melted wax, eyes wide and furious. It didn't blink. Its fingers dragged sparks from the steel as it pulled itself closer. I screamed. I ran up the down escalator, a futile climb, as my lungs burned and my legs threatened to give out. I was losing ground. But the moment I hit the last lit panel before total darkness, the lights above surged. The escalator jolted and flung me back up like a kicked-out visitor. I hit the food court floor hard. Everything was still. The escalator now stood unmoving. Silent. Like nothing had happened. But I know what I saw. Rules to survive the escalator that never ends. 1. Never enter the mall after closing. Especially not at 10:31 p.m. 2. If you hear the escalator move on its own, leave. Immediately. 3. Never step on unless you want to descend. It only goes down. 4. Don't turn around after you're past the third light panel. 5. If you hear scraping, you have less than 30 seconds. Run. 6. No one who goes past the 7th step ever returns. 7. If you're flung out, never talk about what you saw. 8. If it follows you home, never use your stairs in the dark. I haven't slept well since that night. I hear faint mechanical humming at 10:31 p.m. every night now, even miles from Claremont. And sometimes, I swear my apartment building's elevator goes down longer than it should. And once, I saw a pale handprint on the stainless steel panel. I'm never taking another escalator again. Neither should you. But you will. Because curiosity is louder than fear. After I posted about my experience, vague hints, nothing too specific, trying not to break rule number 7, I started getting messages. First, they were jokes. "Yo, escalator ghost bout to get you. Bet you peed when the lights flickered, lol." I laughed it off. I tried to pretend it had been a dream, or some kind of hallucination. That worked. For a while. Until the voice came. It started in the quiet. Just as I was falling asleep. A soft whir, like machinery breathing. Then, a whisper. Low. Garbled. Like it was fighting through static. 7 steps down. It would say. Or, almost time again. And the worst, you still owe us a ride. I moved apartments. I changed my number. But it kept happening. The voice. The hum. Even when I slept in my car miles from the city, I'd wake at 10:31 p.m. to a vibrating hum in my bones. And one night, as I passed by a shopping complex on the outskirts of town, one I'd never seen before, I saw it. An escalator. In the middle of a damn parking lot. No building. No store. Just an escalator, standing tall, lit from above by some impossible source. The steps were moving. Down. And at the bottom, barely visible, a figure was waiting. Thin. Pale. Smiling. I drove away so fast I blew a tire. But it didn't matter. Because when I looked in the rearview mirror, the escalator was gone. Then, the dreams began. Each night, I descend again. In my sleep, I step onto the escalator, powerless. The steps go slower and slower, until time feels broken. I see others. Dozens of them. Trapped between the steps. Faces pressed into metal. Some screaming, some grinning, their expressions permanently twisted like they're stuck between two realities. One of them was my old classmate, Tyler, the one who disappeared on a dare in high school. He had no eyes. Just two deep sockets where ash trickled out. Worse, I dreamt of what's at the bottom. A station. Vast. Filled with nothing but mirrors turned inward, reflecting 100 versions of yourself, all slightly off. One smiled too wide. One cried blood. One had their face backward. And walking between them, checking each one carefully, was the attendant. That's what the voice calls him now. Tall. Dressed in a station uniform older than time, his badge etched with letters that twist when you look at them. His hands are always ringing. Fleshless. And when he sees the version of you that fits, the one that's weakest, he beckons. And once you step off the escalator into that mirror station, you vanish. Your body here withers. You become a smudge. A ghost in glass. A reflection without a face. I haven't used stairs in weeks. Every time I do, my foot slips slightly, like something's pulling me down. But you want the truth, right? You're still here, reading. So here's what matters. Updated rules to survive the escalator that never ends. 1. Never look directly at your reflection on mall escalators after dark. They remember your face. 2. If you dream of descending, try not to step off at the bottom. If you do, wake yourself, or you won't wake at all. 3. If you find an escalator where one shouldn't exist, walk backwards. Do not blink. Do not speak. 4. If the attendant ever waves at you, do not wave back. He's testing your awareness. 5. Avoid mirrors after the third dream. They'll start looking at you before you look at them. 6. If someone you know starts humming escalator music in silence, run. They've been marked. 7. Do not ride escalators at 10:31 p.m. Anywhere. Not just at Claremont. It moves between malls. 8. If you've already seen the bottom, it's too late. But you can buy time by never taking the same route twice. I'm writing this from a diner in the middle of nowhere. The waitress doesn't blink. The lights flicker every time the word escalator crosses my mind. I think the static is bleeding into reality now. My phone just buzzed. 10:30 p.m. I can hear the hum again. Faint. But coming closer. If you value your life, your soul, destroy your escalator photos. Forget the Claremont Mall. Forget this story. Or don't. Because once you know the path down exists, the attendant will want to check if you fit. And once he checks, he doesn't forget. 2 days ago, I saw him on a billboard. I was driving through a quiet, half-dead stretch of town outside Shady Springs. No cell signal, no radio, no signs of life for miles. Then out of nowhere, this massive old-school vinyl billboard on a rusted frame appeared. The kind that hasn't been used since the 90s. It was for something called Downway, the fastest ride you'll never regret. And there he was, the attendant, wearing a conductor's cap, one hand extended to help you board. Only, the longer I stared, the more wrong it got. His face was moving. Not animated, not like a screen, but alive, like flesh trapped beneath plastic. His smile grew the longer I looked. And behind him, instead of a train? An escalator stretching into pitch black, with faint shapes climbing up the sides. Some dragging their limbs. Some crawling backward. I blinked, and the billboard was gone. That night, I stayed in a motel. Thought I'd finally get some sleep. I didn't. I dreamed of mirror stations again. But this time, I wasn't riding. I was watching. Hundreds of people lined the station like commuters at rush hour. But none of them had faces. Just wrinkled paper masks of their own expressions, sad, scared, smiling. They twitched when the attendant walked by, checking them like faulty mannequins. Occasionally, he'd tap one, and it would wither, collapsing into itself like a bag of ash. He got closer. I saw his name tag this time. It had no letters, just turning symbols, like clocks melting mid-spin. When he reached me, he stopped. Then he spoke directly to me. "You passed the 7th step. Now we descend proper." I woke up gasping. My feet were wet. The bathroom light was on. The sink was running. And someone had written on the fog mirror, "Your reflection made it first. You're next." I haven't looked in a mirror since. I only shave by touch. I keep my phone camera covered. I caught a glimpse of myself once, just once, reflected in a store window. The man looking back smiled when I didn't. 2 nights ago, it escalated. I went to an old shopping center to buy a burner phone. When I reached the electronics kiosk, the whole mall shuttered without warning. Lights off. Emergency lighting only. An announcement echoed from somewhere above, static cloaked and wrong. Next departure to Downway Station in 2 minutes. All passengers prepare for final descent. I bolted. But no matter where I turned, the signs had changed. Food court now read feeding terminal. Exit became transfer gate. And every corridor seemed to slope downward. And then I heard it. The escalator's hum. Soft. Steady. Unnatural. I ran, truly ran, until I found myself back at the atrium. And there it was, the escalator. Lit like a stage. Only now it had grown. What had once been a standard 2-story ride now towered high as a silo, vanishing into shadow above and below. I wasn't alone. People were lined up at the base, unmoving. Dressed in old mall uniforms, blood-stained suits, outdated fashion like they'd walked out of past decades. Their eyes were gone. Or never there. Just dark hollows, wide and obedient. Waiting to ride. And the attendant stood at the top. He raised one hand. One word echoed. Begin. And they did. One by one, they stepped on. Not descending. Not ascending. Just disappearing. I ran. I screamed for help. I found a security office, slammed the door, and curled up under a desk. Hours passed. Maybe days. Time didn't work right anymore. I think the escalator exists outside of time. Or underneath it. Eventually, I crawled out. The mall was back to normal. Bright. Open. People laughing. Shopping. Oblivious. The escalator was just gone. As if it never existed. But I know better now. It's not about the escalator. It's about access. Once you see the attendant, truly see him, you're marked. You're being sized up. They want replacements. Riders. Reflections. Versions of you that you can't even comprehend. And worst of all? The mirrors are opening now. Not just in dreams. I saw someone vanish in a changing room mirror at a department store. She blinked, once, and her reflection didn't copy it. Then it smiled and pulled her in. The mirror cracked from the inside. Nobody noticed but me. I saw a man step into a hotel elevator and never come out. The camera showed the doors open on every floor. Empty. No one inside. I'm telling you this while I still can. Final, absolute rules for the escalator that never ends. If the attendant smiles at you in your dreams, do not accept his hand. It's your final warning. Break all your mirrors before the third reflection smiles. They're watching. Never go near escalators alone. Ever. Especially if they're moving when they shouldn't. If you hear an announcement for Downway Station, even faintly, you've already been summoned. Keep moving. Sleep little. Change locations. They're mapping your pattern. Never ride anything that descends without a visible destination. No escalators. No elevators. No subways. Not even stairs in the dark. You are not paranoid. You are prey. The attendant checks twice. Once in shadow. Once in light. After that, you're his. I have one match left. I'm burning this notebook and every screen I've touched. If you've read this far, I'm sorry. The attendant knows your name now. He's coming to see if you fit.